Have you ever been left wondering why she walked away? While your mind replays every word, every glance, every smile that once belonged to you? You thought you had it all under control, but somewhere, in London, New York, or Sydney, she's laughing with someone else, living a life that should have been yours. And it burns, not because she left, but because no one ever taught you the invisible rules that make a woman crave. A man, the rules that make her chase relentlessly without even realizing why. Most men think attraction is about gifts, attention, or charm. They're wrong. It's about calm power, unshakable confidence, and a stoic presence that draws her in like gravity. The truth is harsh. Every day you ignore these secrets is another day. You watch her slip further away while other men step in, effortlessly commanding desire you could have had. By the end of this video, you won't just know these 10 stoic secrets. You'll feel them in your energy, your voice, your presence. She will notice the difference. You'll become the man she can't resist, the man she chases, the man who rewrites the rules of your past heartbreak. But here's your first step. Comment the last thing she ever said before walking away, the words that still sting. Confront that truth, own it, because only when you face it can you transform it. This isn't a video. This isn't advice. This is a weapon, a blueprint, a storm. And by the time you finish watching, she won't just notice you, she'll chase you relentlessly, powerless to stop herself. 1. Master your calm. Have you ever noticed how some men can walk into a chaotic room and instantly command attention? Not by shouting or showing off, but simply by existing in a space with calm authority? That is the first secret, the power of mastering your calm. Women are unconsciously wired to seek men who embody stability. In today's world, emotions fluctuate wildly. Men overreact to texts, to social situations, or even minor inconveniences. But when a man demonstrates composure, a grounded presence that is unaffected by external chaos, he becomes magnetic. Picture this, you're in a cafe in London. The rain is pouring outside. People are frantically checking their phones, stressed about work, the news, or minor drama, but you sit at your table, sipping coffee, scrolling calmly. Across the room, a woman notices your composure. She sees a man who is not easily shaken, a man whose internal state is independent of his surroundings. This is not about arrogance, it's about energy. Calmness signals mastery over oneself. Women instinctively sense it. It's primal, subconscious, and irresistible. Let's take another example. New York City. Imagine a woman observing men around her frantically texting back and forth, chasing attention, seeking validation. Then there's you. You respond to her message deliberately, thoughtfully, never rushed, never anxious. She feels the contrast immediately. That calm energy you exude makes her wonder what's different about you. She doesn't consciously realize it yet, but this man who remains steady when others crumble is a man worth pursuing. Mastering your calm isn't just about behavior in public. It's about mindset. It's about being unmoved by her tests, her subtle manipulations, or the uncertainty of attraction. A woman might try to provoke a reaction, testing whether you're insecure or reactive. If you flinch, she notices it. But if you stay calm, she begins to chase, because women desire men who are emotionally anchored, unshaken, reliable. The stoic truth here is that calmness is power. It's a silent force. A woman will chase a man who embodies serenity because it promises security, attraction, and respect without her needing to demand it. This is the first foundation of irresistible attraction. The man who masters his calm doesn't beg for attention. Attention comes to him. 2. Value your time above all else. The second secret flows naturally from the first. Women are irresistibly attracted to men who value their time. Why? Scarcity creates desire. If you are always available, if you respond immediately to every text or interrupt your day for every invitation, your value diminishes. But when you protect your time, live a full and meaningful life, and maintain boundaries, women subconsciously sense that you are scarce, and scarcity triggers pursuit. Imagine walking along the Thames in London, passing by couples chatting on the bridges. A woman texts you. You don't immediately respond, not because you're playing games, but because you're at the gym, working on a passion project, or enjoying a morning coffee without distraction. She waits. The wait isn't frustration. It's anticipation. Every delayed response, every moment she spends wondering what you're doing, increases your value. Think of a man in Los Angeles who spends mornings running along Venice Beach, afternoons learning a new skill, evenings with friends or personal projects. He is living fully. When a woman texts him, she knows he is busy. She knows his life is rich. That very knowledge sparks desire. Women chase men who have lives outside of them because it promises depth, mystery, and substance. But there's a Stoic nuance here. Valuing your time is not about arrogance or manipulation. It's about self-respect. Your time is finite, precious, and aligning with purpose makes your presence powerful. A man in Toronto, who invests his time in meaningful endeavors instead of being constantly available, sends an invisible signal. I am a man of substance, not of convenience. Women feel this energy, and they pursue it instinctively. Time mastery also builds intrigue. The woman who texts you might know she won't get an instant reply. She imagines your life, wonders what you're doing, and before long, she begins to chase, not consciously, but because she senses your independence and self-mastery. Valuing your time is a direct reflection of the life you lead, and nothing attracts more than a man whose life is full, purposeful, and untouchable. 3. Speak with intent. Have you ever met a man whose words seem to linger, whose sentences feel deliberate, measured, and impossible to ignore? That's the power of speaking with intent. Women are instinctively drawn to men who don't speak aimlessly, who don't fill silence with noise, but instead use words as instruments of influence, emotion, and connection. Speaking with intent signals intelligence, self-awareness, and emotional mastery. Imagine walking through the streets of Manhattan. A woman approaches you with casual conversation, perhaps something as simple as commenting on the weather. Most men would stumble, ramble, or try to over-impress. But you respond with clarity, purpose, and a hint of intrigue. Your words are carefully chosen, revealing depth without oversharing, leaving her curious, wanting more. She notices your energy, the confidence behind your voice, the subtle authority in every phrase. In London, consider a man in a bustling cafe. A woman asks about his weekend. Instead of simply replying, he gives a concise yet captivating answer. I spent the weekend learning to sail on the Thames. Nothing clears the mind like steering through wind and water. Immediately, she is intrigued. She pictures him on the river, independent, capable, fully alive. Words with intent create a vision in the mind, a story she wants to be part of. Stoicism teaches that the right words at the right time hold immense power. Speaking with intent is not manipulation, it is discipline. It reflects a man who thinks before he speaks, who values the impact of his communication. Women are biologically wired to notice this. A man who speaks deliberately signals intelligence and emotional control. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't chase approval. Yet every word resonates, pulling her attention closer. Intentional speech also builds respect. Consider a man in Toronto who replies to texts not with mindless hey or emojis, but with thoughtful, precise messages that carry weight and subtle charm. Women sense the difference. They chase him not because he is mysterious for the sake of it, but because his words reflect substance, self-respect, and purpose. He becomes magnetic simply through the power of deliberate communication. Speaking with intent transforms ordinary conversations into tools of attraction. A casual hello becomes a subtle display of confidence. A simple story becomes a moment of intrigue. Women unconsciously chase the man whose words carry meaning because they reflect the life he leads, full, purposeful, and in control. 4. Show, don't tell. Actions always speak louder than words, and this is especially true in attraction. Women are biologically tuned to notice a man's behaviors more than his claims. Stoicism teaches us that character is demonstrated, not declared. Saying you're confident or interesting doesn't matter. Showing it in subtle, undeniable ways creates desire that words alone never could. Picture a man in Sydney walking along Bondi Beach. He doesn't tell a woman he is adventurous. He surfs confidently, navigates the waves with skill, and smiles naturally. A woman notices not because of a boast, but because the evidence of his capability and self-mastery is undeniable. She doesn't just see him, she feels the energy he radiates, and without realizing it, she begins to chase, wanting to be part of that world. Showing instead of telling is also about consistency. A man in Los Angeles doesn't promise reliability or emotional control. He demonstrates it daily. He responds to her with calmness when others panic. He follows through on commitments. He engages in meaningful pursuits without needing recognition. Women notice this consistency subconsciously. It signals trustworthiness, stability, and value. Actions confirm character in ways words never can. Even small gestures carry weight. A man in London who opens a door once, maintains composure during minor inconveniences, or simply walks with confident posture. He is showing, not telling. Every action becomes a proof point of his value. Women chase men whose behavior aligns with what they embody because it signals authenticity. Stoicism emphasizes that integrity and self-mastery are visible through action. A man who lives deliberately, who acts according to his principles, naturally attracts attention. Words can attract attention temporarily, but actions build lasting intrigue. A woman will pursue a man who embodies what he claims to be, not through declarations, but through subtle, undeniable demonstrations. Showing instead of telling also creates mystery. By not explaining every action or over-explaining his life, a man leaves room for curiosity. A woman wonders, she observes, she interprets. That curiosity drives attraction, making her chase not just the man, but the life he represents, a life of discipline, purpose, and unshakable stoic calm. 5. Be unpredictably consistent. Have you noticed how some men seem to keep women endlessly intrigued, while others fade into background noise? The secret isn't mystery alone, it's a combination of unpredictable energy with inconsistent behavior. Women are drawn to men whose patterns signal stability, but whose energy keeps them guessing just enough to remain fascinated. Imagine walking through Soho in London. You meet a man who always shows up on time, maintains composure, and follows through on promises. That's the consistency. But then he surprises you, not recklessly, but with subtle, calculated unpredictability. A spontaneous invitation to a private art exhibit, an unexpected story from his travels in Edinburgh, a playful, teasing remark that makes you laugh in the middle of the cafe. The combination of trustworthiness and unpredictability is irresistible. She begins to anticipate his next move, mentally chasing the thrill of discovery while feeling secure in his foundation. Stoicism teaches us that discipline doesn't mean rigidity. The man who embodies stoic calm yet introduces calculated novelty signals mastery over both himself and the environment. A woman subconsciously craves this balance. She wants a man she can rely on, yet she also wants sparks, unexpected excitement, subtle surprises that ignite curiosity. Take a man in Toronto, for example. He always responds thoughtfully to messages, never overreacting, maintaining his calm. Yet he occasionally texts something playful or leaves a tiny hint of intrigue. Maybe he shares a photo from a mountaintop hike he didn't mention before. Women notice these small deviations from routine. They chase not because they are uncertain of his reliability, but because he keeps the experience of being with him vibrant. Consistency without predictability is magnetic. It communicates integrity, emotional stability, and intelligence, while also offering the dopamine of subtle surprises. Women chase men who can hold themselves firmly in life, yet bring sparks into otherwise ordinary days. This combination, stoic stability with calculated spontaneity, is one of the most powerful psychological triggers for attraction. 6. Lead, don't follow. Perhaps the most potent lesson of attraction comes down to this. Women are drawn to men who lead, not men who follow. Leadership doesn't mean domination or arrogance, it means clarity of purpose, direction, and confidence in decision-making. It's about taking initiative in life, in conversations and experiences, and even in relationships. Consider a man in New York City navigating a social gathering. A woman suggests a restaurant she likes. Instead of deferring, he proposes a plan, blending her input with his own initiative. I love that place. But how about we try a new rooftop bar with the skyline view first, then head there afterward? He's leading, not dismissing. He's directing, not controlling. This subtle confidence triggers respect and curiosity simultaneously. Leadership is not only in grand gestures, but also in daily life choices. A man in Sydney might take charge of planning a weekend trip, balancing spontaneity with structure. He respects her desires, but shows he can make decisions that enhance both their experiences. Women instinctively notice men who navigate life with purpose and foresight. A man who leads naturally commands attention and admiration. Stoicism reinforces that true leadership comes from self-mastery. A stoic man leads because he knows himself, his values, and his boundaries. He does not seek approval. He acts according to principle. A woman sees this consciously or subconsciously and is magnetically drawn to the strength and stability he embodies. Even in small everyday interactions, leadership is powerful. A man in London carrying the energy of his personal mission, offering thoughtful guidance in conversation, or demonstrating decisiveness in choices, signals that he is in control of his life. Women are wired to chase men who reflect security and direction, not uncertainty and indecision. Leading, in the Stoic sense, is about calm command, thoughtful decisions, and living deliberately. It is the silent authority that attracts women effortlessly, making them want to follow, connect, and remain engaged with the man who walks his path with purpose. 7. Value your time like gold. Have you ever noticed how some men seem to naturally draw women toward them? Not by chasing, but simply by living life on their terms? The difference lies in how they value their time. Women are instinctively attracted to men who treat their time as precious, who do not overextend themselves or chase attention aimlessly. Imagine walking through the streets of Manchester. You see a man, perhaps in a quiet cafe, reading a book, replying to emails selectively, occasionally glancing up with awareness. He isn't rushing to respond to every message, attending every social event, or bending over backward to impress. His time is his own, and his decisions reflect that. That awareness, that silent command over his own schedule, signals value, intrinsic value that goes beyond appearance or superficial charm. This is the essence of Stoicism applied to attraction. A man who guards his time communicates self-respect, discipline, and independence. He isn't reactive. He's deliberate. Women subconsciously sense the scarcity of attention. When he gives it, it carries weight. A woman in Edinburgh noticing a man who doesn't scroll endlessly on his phone but engages fully in conversation will feel drawn to his presence. His time isn't cheap, it's valuable, and that value elevates his aura. Being busy isn't the same as being valuable. A man in London who fills his calendar with meaningless tasks sends the opposite signal. The Stoic man chooses where to invest his energy: personal growth, meaningful work, authentic connections. Every conversation, every meeting, every interaction is intentional. Women chase this kind of presence because it offers a reflection of mastery and self-control, even in small moments, deliberate pauses before replying to a text, prioritizing a deep conversation over casual chit-chat. The message is clear. He is not available to just anyone, and his world is structured by his principles. Women sense this, and it awakens a subtle but powerful desire to earn his time and attention. In essence, valuing your time like gold transforms the ordinary into magnetic, making a woman chase not just interest but quality engagement. 8. Radiate calm confidence. If there's one trait that women chase above all else, it is calm confidence. This isn't loud or brash arrogance, it's a deep, quiet assurance rooted in knowing who you are and what you stand for. A man in Bristol walking with ease, holding himself steadily in a crowded room, exudes more attraction than any flashy display of wealth or humor. Calm confidence is the Stoic superpower. It's the ability to navigate life without letting external chaos disturb your inner peace. Picture a man in Dublin at a social gathering. A woman tries to provoke a reaction or tease playfully. Instead of overreacting or showing insecurity, he smiles subtly, responds thoughtfully, and maintains his composure. That composure signals emotional mastery, which is irresistible. Women are wired to chase stability. When a man demonstrates he can handle stress, criticism, or unpredictability without losing himself, she senses security, reliability, and strength. A Stoic man in London negotiating a business deal, calmly resolving conflict with a colleague, shows the same energy that subconsciously attracts women. It's not just charm, it's proof that he will remain steady in life's storms. Calm confidence also allows space for intrigue. A man who isn't desperate to impress can let a conversation flow naturally, making a woman lean in, curious to uncover more layers. His confidence is magnetic because it isn't performative. It's authentic. A woman walking through Edinburgh's Royal Mile with such a man feels drawn into his orbit. Sensing he possesses an inner fortress of stability she wants to be near, the combination of stoic calm and unwavering confidence creates a powerful psychological pull. Women chase men who are unshakable, who move through life with purpose and serenity, because it signals mastery over self and circumstance. This kind of attraction transcends physical appearance or fleeting charm. It's deep, compelling, and long-lasting. 9. Master the art of listening. There's a subtle magic in listening, a skill almost entirely lost in a world dominated by noise and endless talking. Yet it's one of the most irresistible traits a man can possess. Women are drawn to men who truly hear them, who process not just words but emotions, intentions, and the unspoken layers beneath conversation. Imagine a man in Manchester sitting across from a woman in a quiet cafe. She talks about her day, her frustrations at work, the subtle joy she felt seeing an old friend. Most men would nod absent-mindedly, already formulating their next words, their next joke, their next story. But a Stoic man listens. He absorbs her tone, her pauses. The tiny details she assumes go unnoticed. He reflects thoughtfully, responds with insight, and allows her words to shape the rhythm of their exchange. This mastery of listening isn't passive. It's strategic in its authenticity. A woman senses when a man is fully present, when his attention is undivided. In London, at a social gathering, the man who quietly engages in conversation, asking subtle, insightful questions based on prior statements stands out instantly. His listening conveys that her thoughts and feelings matter. That sense of validation is magnetic. Listening also allows him to mirror her emotions subtly, creating subconscious intimacy. She feels understood, seen, and acknowledged, even in moments where no one else might have noticed her nuances. It signals emotional intelligence, self-control, and depth, qualities women crave in a partner. The Stoic man does not interrupt to impose his ego. He responds in ways that reveal comprehension and empathy without sacrificing his calm confidence. Moreover, listening grants the man control over the flow of interaction. By understanding her fears, desires, and insecurities, he can guide conversations to build connection without manipulation. It's an invisible thread that draws her closer, making her feel safe, intrigued, and valued all at once. Women chase men who master listening because it reflects patience, respect, and authenticity. In essence, listening is a silent declaration of value. He respects his own mind and hers equally. This is the Stoic power of attraction, quiet, deliberate, and profoundly effective. 10. Remain unpredictably consistent. Consistency is often underrated, but in the realm of attraction, it's a cornerstone. Yet Stoicism teaches us a subtle twist. Be unpredictably consistent. Women are drawn to men who are reliable in values and principles, but unpredictable in action and energy. This balance creates excitement without instability, curiosity without insecurity. Consider a man walking through the streets of Edinburgh. She knows he will always be respectful, kind, and confident. She knows he will respond thoughtfully to messages and honor his commitments. But she never quite knows when he will send a witty text, show up with a thoughtful gesture, or share an unexpected insight. This unpredictability, tempered by unwavering consistency and character, creates an irresistible magnetic pull. The Stoic man understands that life is full of patterns, and women are drawn to patterns they can rely on. Yet when combined with small, controlled deviations, moments of spontaneity or playful mystery, these patterns become fascinating. It's like watching the tide, predictable in rhythm, but endlessly captivating in its subtle variations. In London, a woman texting a Stoic man notices he doesn't reply immediately every time. Sometimes he initiates contact. Sometimes he lets the space breathe. Yet she always knows his intent is grounded in authenticity. That tension between reliability and surprise triggers intrigue and desire simultaneously. This principle also applies to emotional consistency. A man who remains calm, composed, and principled under varying circumstances signals stability. But occasional shifts in tone, humor, or perspective, never manipulative, always genuine, introduce layers that keep attraction alive. Women subconsciously chase men who provide security and excitement in equal measure because it mirrors the emotional balance they seek in life. Ultimately mastering unpredictably, consistent behavior transforms ordinary interactions into powerful attraction. It is the quiet artistry of Stoicism, embodying principles while embracing life's spontaneous beauty. Women sense this equilibrium, and they are drawn, not for superficial reasons, but for the profound resonance of authenticity, stability, and intrigue combined. Conclusion. By now you've seen the truth most men will never understand. These 10 Stoic secrets aren't tricks, cheap lines, or empty games. They're the core principles that shape desire, respect, and unshakable attraction. Every glance she gives, every thought she hides, every subtle pull you notice is influenced by the energy you carry, the confidence you radiate, and the calm Stoic presence you embody. This isn't about manipulation. This is about mastery over yourself, mastery over your emotions, and mastery over how you enter her world. Because a woman doesn't chase a man who bends, begs, or pleads. She chases the man who stands firm, yet unpredictable, powerful yet calm, distant yet magnetic. The man who lives life fully without her validation, yet makes her validation impossible to resist. Remember, it's not about forcing desire, it's about becoming the version of yourself that naturally commands it. Every secret, every principle, every Stoic insight you've absorbed here is a step toward that version of you. And when you walk through life carrying this energy, it doesn't just change how women see you, it changes how you see yourself. You stop settling for crumbs, stop chasing fleeting attention, and start living with clarity, strength, and irresistible presence. So take these lessons, internalize them, live them, and watch as she begins to notice not just what you say, but who you are, the calm, unshakable force that pulls her in. No resistance, no questions. She will chase, she will desire, and most importantly, she will respect the man you've become. This is your life. This is your transformation. Carry it forward, stand tall, own it, and never look back. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.